One of the earliest videos on this channel was my breakdown of Link Click Season 1 and 2 opening and ending lyrics. It's a very popular video of mine, but unfortunately it's also very terrible. I mean, I took 5 minutes to analyze 4 whole songs. What was I even doing? So mostly just to make myself feel better, here is the fixed version. Spoilers for all of Link Click. Dive back in time. The first verse puts us right at Chung Xiaoshe's death in the photo studio. Something has changed in the back of my mind. Before Chung Xiaoshe died for the first time, I'm sure Lu Guang genuinely believed his whole don't mess with the past thing. But here he's given up on it, without a moment's hesitation. Then he receives Chung Xiaoshe's ability. Now that he has the power to rewind, to him there's no excuse. He must go back and try to save him, which we see him do over the next lines. And that last line is basically Lu Guang saying he can't live without Chung Xiaoshe, this road being a way of saying this timeline, the future without him. The pre-chorus shows Lu Guang's desperation. He'll keep chasing Chung Xiaoshe through time until they're together again, lamenting the fact he should have never let him die in the first place. The start of the chorus is obviously just Lu Guang rewinding time. The middle part stands out though. Despite this song being written from his perspective, this line about secrets hidden in someone's mind reminds me so much of Xiaoling learning about Chung Xiaoshe's death through Lu Guang's memories. Then it switches back to Lu Guang. He says he'll always remember every moment he's spent with Chung Xiaoshe, and he hopes he'll be able to save him, begging him to come back. Notice that the post-chorus repeats dive back in time 3 times. Lu Guang mentions his last chance at the end of season 2, so maybe he only ever had 3 attempts to save Chung Xiaoshe for whatever reason. Verse 2 first references everything Lu Guang changed, the mistakes he undid and the stuff he had to go through to alter fate, before kind of insulting Chung Xiaoshe. If it wasn't for his misguided taste, aka always getting himself into trouble, Lu Guang would just be a normal person. Though I guess he thinks that's all a good thing because of the next line. This is poor English, so I could be horribly misinterpreting this, but assuming the lyrics really are bore and not bored, and also taking unaddictively to mean like only once rather than repeatedly, I guess, digging out your own brain one time can only refer to a self-inflicted death. On a slightly brighter note, in the bridge, Lu Guang tells Chung Xiaoshe not to feel sorry for being the reason he's doing all this, because he loves the future he's trying to achieve. But also this whole thing is affecting him a lot mentally, which, yeah, obviously. In conclusion, Dive Back in Time represents the start of Lu Guang's journey/suffering. He's still hopeful, believing he can save Chung Xiaoshe if he just keeps rewinding. Overthink. The English translation is taken from the Link Click wiki page. Before the song starts, there's some very quiet chatter while a phone call goes unanswered. It translates to something along the lines of poor Lu Guang. It's a very strange thing to include in the season 1 ending, but with the knowledge we have now, maybe it's someone taking pity on him after Chung Xiaoshe's death, or maybe it's something else. You see, the rest of the song is actually a bit different from the others, as it's not about a person rewinding time. Rather, it's someone desperately wishing they had the power to. This song describes a timeline where Lu Guang never tried or simply never had the opportunity to save Chung Xiaoshe and him deeply regretting it. Remember that oddly dark line from Dive Back in Time, how Lu Guang could not live without Chung Xiaoshe? I interpret this song as him on the verge of making that choice, which would make the poor Lu Guang part make sense. It's a normal way to talk about someone who's struggling. Verse 1 sets the scene. People are trying to reach out to him, but he's ignoring the calls. He just wants to close his eyes, leave the lights of the city behind him. The line, "Only under the starry sky can I clearly see your face," tells us the narrator is longing for a person who has passed away. It's Lu Guang wishing to see Chung Xiaoshe again. He's been drinking, and it's making him do silly things like trying to rewind time even though he knows it's impossible. The next few lines confirm Lu Guang is still living in the photo studio even after Chung Xiaoshe's death. It ends with him asking if he should just give up life, or stop thinking about it and move on, the titular motif that carries through the rest of the song. And in case it wasn't already obvious enough, the "steal a glance at my right hand" line in the pre-chorus confirms this is absolutely about Lu Guang. He wears his watch on his right hand. The pre-chorus is probably the most positive part of the song. It's Lu Guang deciding it isn't his time yet and wondering how he keeps falling into these depressive spirals. The chorus is exactly what it says it is. It's Lu Guang telling himself to stop thinking about it. Even though his mind is clouded with thoughts of escaping this reality, he desperately wants to move on. He knows he's only doing this to himself, and no one blames him for Chang Xiaoshe's death, and yet he's still struggling. The yay at the end of the chorus is such a if you don't laugh you'll cry moment. The post-chorus includes another connection to Die Back in Time, this idea of having 3 chances. If you're desperately begging for God or whatever to give you the power to go back in time and save a person, why would you ask for 3 attempts? It's already impossible, but to ask for 3 attempts instead of just 1 is so oddly greedy. It makes me think this line is specifically about Lu Guang's situation and that last chance he talked about. The second verse is essentially Lu Guang arguing to himself that even if he had the power to go back, he wouldn't be able to change anything anyway. Idling away, not moving forward, standing outside the door of fate is the act of rewinding. He's trying to avoid destiny by changing things, but no matter what he does, he thinks the end will always be the same because fate is predetermined. The next lines further this. Because he can't change anything, he thinks he'll always be remembered as the person who couldn't save Chang Xiaoshe. No matter how many times he goes back, how many alternate, permanently diverged timelines he creates, he believes he will always fail because fate has been predetermined by some higher being. In the bridge, Lu Guang just gives up thinking entirely, saying it's too noisy, he doesn't know and he can't keep up. There's also another line about his watch, really driving home that this song is written from his perspective. The rest of the song is the chorus repeated. He's telling himself to stop thinking about it and desperately wants to move on from Chang Xiaoshe's death. Vortex. This song takes place during Lu Guang's attempts to save Chang Xiaoshe. It starts with the chorus. The first half is Lu Guang questioning if all the chaos he's caused by messing with time will actually give him the outcome he wants, Chang Xiaoshe living. Then he asks, where do we end up when we save the world? He's changed so much, he has no idea how things will turn out, what their futures will look like. Truth in the shadows so brightened in gold is a clever reference to the diving ability. The only way he can save Chang Xiaoshe is by using that ability to go back in time. That last line is him saying he'd rather haphazardly mess with time like he is than leave fate to run its course and watch Chang Xiaoshe die again. Verse 1 is about Lu Guang choosing to rewind time. It actually lines up perfectly with the opening scene of Bridon Arc. Things undue refers to Chang Xiaoshe's death. Drop the fight and let it follow through. After Chang Xiaoshe was shot, we don't really see what happens, but it looks like he doesn't continue to fight Vayne. He just lets the scene play out. Then he walks up to their room, thinks for a second before diving back to their meeting at the basketball court. He then says he was wrong for believing life will be fair and decides to continue rewinding until he's able to save Chang Xiaoshe. The second verse starts with, take back all my regrets and camouflage it like your silhouette. I interpret this as Lu Guang recognizing the Chang Xiaoshes he meets in the past will never be the ones from their original timeline. He might be able to save one of them eventually, sure, but he's only masking over what really happened. He'll have to live with the knowledge of his Chang Xiaoshe's death forever. This line does my job for me by explaining the simile. I actually guessed this in my original video, but it's extra sad now that it's confirmed. The line, knowing it all, am I destined to fall like you once did for me, is about how Chang Xiaoshe died saving Lu Guang. And worryingly, it seems like Lu Guang is willing to trade his life if it means Chang Xiaoshe gets to live. The second chorus is actually reversed, which is such a fitting detail. The third verse seems like a threat of sorts to Leo Xiao and Vayne. He knows they'll figure out he's the one messing with time, but no matter who or how they interfere with his goal, he'll keep rewinding over and over again. The last line, drag me down and maybe we'll never leave, is definitely a threat. You're gonna keep causing Chang Xiaoshe's death? Then we're going to be stuck living out these years over and over again. The fourth verse shows some of Lu Guang's internal conflict. He knows there might be no point to this, that fate might be impossible to completely change. But at this point he's committed, willing to destroy literally everything to let Chang Xiaoshe live. Finally, the outro shows Lu Guang's resolve to keep going. He's still holding on to his promise of staying with Chang Xiaoshe even after everything he's been through. Like I said before, what counts as real and what isn't has become distorted. He asks if it's worth holding on to his reason and morality. Should he try something more drastic? It ends with Lu Guang basically saying he'll keep facing whatever is to come. The tides. This translation is also taken from the wiki. In my original video, I assumed this song was written from the perspective of Lu Guang, not taking any notice of the fact this song is actually a duet. While I was looking up the lyrics for this video, I stumbled upon a Reddit post from 2 years ago pointing this out, from someone who watched my original video, no less. Fel Avocado, I absolutely love your interpretation, so I'm stealing it. And also, thank you for saying my video was cool and not calling me an idiot like you rightly could've. So their interpretation is that everything sung by Fan Ka, who did Overthink, is Lu Guang talking. And every line sung by the vocalist of Baisha Jaws, the band from the openings, is Chung Xiao-she. This makes the song so beautifully tragic. The first verse is all from the perspective of Lu Guang. It tells us how much trauma Chung Xiao-she's death has caused him. The first lines remind me of Overthink a lot. He's alone, dwelling on everything he's been through and what's to come. Shattered butterflies obviously refers to the butterfly effect and all the timelines he's altered. Nightingales are a symbol of love, longing, and even tragedy, a perfect metaphor for how Lu Guang sees Chung Xiao-she. The image of Chung Xiao-she's death haunts him. He's so riddled with guilt, he's making himself physically sick. It's always there, living in the back of his mind. Even during peaceful times, he cannot get that tragic scene out of his head. I'm sure he feels responsible for his death, as he continues to do everything he possibly can to save him. But even after all that, there's still only a small chance it will actually work. Then we have Chung Xiao-she talking during the bridge. A vision of existence hidden in the pupil refers to the original Chung Xiao-she, who died and gave his ability to Lu Guang. He's trying to reach out to Lu Guang to tell him something, but he can't. Instead, Lu Guang just keeps rewinding, changing the past, trying to create a perfect future. All the while, the original Chung Xiao-she sinks deeper into the mess of new timelines being created. The chorus starts with Chung Xiao-she. He tells Lu Guang to open his eyes, pass through the lies in every future. Then he says, "When you wake up, I will no longer be there." Chung Xiao-she is trying to get Lu Guang to accept the fact that he is dead. He wants him to realize that he can't be saved no matter how many times they rewind, and that Lu Guang is only hurting himself. In the second half of the chorus, there's a bit of back and forth between them. Chung Xiao-she tells him to steady his stride, to pick himself up and move on, but Lu Guang's saying he's trapped in the mess of time he's created. Not literally stuck, but rather he's already changed so much he's committed to keep going. So Chung Xiao-she tells him to cut through the night, stop being depressed over me and get through it. Lu Guang replies that he can't see a way back. He's arguing to keep going, as there's no way to go back to the original timeline. But Chung Xiao-she tells him that even if he rewinds time again, he can't be saved. He'll always succumb to his fate, so there's no point in Lu Guang continuing. Lu Guang narrates the second verse. He's back in the photo studio, looking at Chung Xiao-she's camera and everything else that he's left untouched now that he's dead. He's replaying what happened that night over and over. It seems like this is after a failed attempt at saving Chung Xiao-she, as he talks about his unfinished redemption. And he acknowledges that the timeline has already become distorted due to him messing with fate. Over the next lines, Lu Guang questions if there's some higher being controlling fate and worries if, therefore, it's impossible to change. But it's a possibility he has to ignore if he wants to keep going. He ends by saying he believes he's getting close to saving Chung Xiao-she, but Chung Xiao-she himself interrupts, essentially telling Lu Guang it's a false hope and they're only sinking deeper into the sea of time. The second bridge is again Lu Guang talking, tripping, losing the target, sinking deep into the darkness, unable to be found by anyone. It sounds like he's giving up. Can the people stuck in the tides of time still wait to receive an answer? He's done so much damage to time itself by trying to save Chung Xiao-she. Does he even deserve to get the happy ending he wants? Then Chung Xiao-she speaks, repeating the first bridge and chorus. Again, he's begging Lu Guang to stop destroying himself by rewinding time to save him and to move on with his life without him. But Lu Guang pushes back, just like he did the first time. Finally, Chung Xiao-she finishes out the song. The lyrics themselves are just the chorus repeated, but Lu Guang doesn't interject this time. Either he's given up arguing, or he's decided to listen to Chung Xiao-she's desperate pleas and has accepted fate and moved on. This changes my interpretation completely from my original video, but somehow it's still just as tragic. We haven't heard Chung Xiao-she's thoughts on anything Lu Guang is doing so far. Only through this song do we finally get to hear his side. All he wants is for Lu Guang to stop and move on. Of course he'd rather have himself die as fated than have his best friend spiral into depression and chaos, possibly even his own death, all for a chance at rewriting fate that might not even work. This also opens up a new theory. I'm a big fan, no, that's not right. I strongly believe in the idea that Link Click will end with the boys never meeting. In the past, I always said this would be Lu Guang's doing. Chang Xiaoshi dies saving him, so we can't do that if they never meet. But based on this song, it also works the other way around. What if Chang Xiaoshi finds out about everything Lu Guang is doing? He tries to convince him to stop, just like in the song, but Lu Guang refuses. So he goes back in time and chooses to never meet Lu Guang, stopping him from being entangled in his fate. Chang Xiaoshi still might die, sure, but he's aware of that. He's already told us his death is a better outcome than Lu Guang's eternal torment. But now Lu Guang will be able to live on, feeling no guilt over it. Thank you for your time.